been a minute since I filmed because I went on vacation. So a lot of things were pre-filmed, and then I did my outfits of the week video, which was a voiceover and a guided meditation, which is audio only, so it feels like I haven't sat down in a while, and it's nice to be here. I am drinking some tea. I'll show you in this mug. I think I got this from TK Maxx a year ago or something. There are going to be farm noises today. It is during the day, and the grind over there doesn't stop, but neither does mine, so I hope that it won't be too distracting for you. The tea that I'm drinking is Winter Glow. This is my first time in maybe a year that I'm drinking black tea. I'm more of an herbal, green tea at most type of girl, but this was the only one that we had left because I drank all of it. So yeah. Today I want to show you what's on my bookshelf, and this video has been requested a lot to do a bookshelf tour. I've also talked about doing it. However, I would love to spend a little bit more time on the books that I have on my shelves, and I am not reading a lot at the moment. I do like to talk about books and want to make videos about books, but if I'm not reading, what's a girl gonna do? So I decided to go shelf by shelf and show you not the whole bookshelf in one video because I don't think that that's that interesting, but I will just talk about what's on my shelf, and I'll make it a little video series until we've been through the whole bookshelf. I have it kind of sectioned in nonfiction, to romance, to literary fiction, to classics, and then to non-realism. That can be fantasy, magical realism, mythology, retellings. I never really know what genre to put them in, and it's not my most preferred genre, so I just put them together, if it makes sense. If you're someone who's very nitpicky about how to sort books and how to organize everything, this is not the video for you. Just be warned. Like, it's structured, but not that structured. So we are starting at the bottom shelf tonight. I am going to talk to you about my non-realism books. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books here. The last one is also the only book that I read in October, so you'll also get a book review from that one, but we're gonna save it for last. If you are trying to fall asleep, but you do want the book review, I would say skip to the end first and then come back. But the books on my fantasy-ish shelf. The first one that I have on there is Babble by R.F. Kuang. If you've been around for a while, you watch my book videos a lot, it's going to be very repetitive. So Babble by R.F. Kuang is a very popular, well-loved book. It is a historical fantasy-ish fiction, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. This is going to happen a lot because I haven't read a lot of the books on my shelf. Oxford, 1836. The city of dreaming spires. It is the center of all knowledge and progress in the world, and at its heart is Babble, Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, the tower from which all the power of the empire flows. Orphaned in Canton and brought to England by mysterious guardian Robin Swift, thought Babble a paradise, until it became a prison. But can a student stay books mystify even himself. The rivals must survive their trials, and if they can prove themselves, they will. Most of them. Let's take a moment for the book sounds. From the 23 pages that I've read so far, Livia Rhodes and Nico are, well, it says on the back, I think, inseparable enemies. That was mentioned in 22 of the 23 pages, so I feel like Olivia Blake is just really setting up the story and making it known that they're enemies. I just wasn't really in the right headspace, I think, to read this one yet, so I am interested in still picking it up. I will, just not today, you know. I think that the first 3 books are also from my fall TBR list, which is my last book video I made, I think, but they're all together on my shelf because I just put them back, so the first 3 that I'm talking about are on that list. Wallace reluctantly accepts the truth. Yet even in death, he refuses to abandon his life. Despite spending all of his working, and as Wallace grows closer to Hugo and shares jokes with his resident ghost, he wonders if he missed something. So when he's given 1 week to pass to the other side, Wallace sets about creating a lifetime in just 7 days. An uplifting story about a life spent at the office and a death spent building a home. So from what I heard and understood from the back and from friends who read it, this is a lot about a person who is not really quite ready to accept the crossover, and so tries to make the most of the time that he has left. And I know from TJ Klune that the stories are very cozy and quirky and comforting. So, sorry, I'm very itchy all over. I don't know why. Don't worry about me, please. It just happens. I just glitter from my makeup. But I started another book from him, which we'll talk about later, and I don't know yet if this is going to be up my alley or not. For some reason, I feel like I have to read the other one first. I don't, but I made that up in my head, and now I can't get that out. But yeah, I am interested in this book, but maybe sometime next year. I don't have a very direct, urgent desire to pick up this book right now. But until then, it stands beautifully on my shelf. Okay, and then we have the iconic, very also well-loved, well-known, I think was this also like a TikTok hype book at one point, I don't know. This is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This one I got from Vinted, I believe. And I am, how many pages in? 55 pages in. I don't think I've ever mentioned this book in a video or something, but a lot of the times when I read just a couple pages and I decide to put it down for now, I don't really mention it in videos unless I am an active hater of the book, or if I got over 100 pages in and I have more of an opinion on it. But I don't even count this as a DNF, I just count this as I glanced through it and decided not now. I don't know. I feel like it might be a little bit too quirky for me. At the time that I read it, I think I was more in the mood for a literary fiction or something. I don't remember, but it really depends on my mood what type of story I can enjoy, because I can pick this up later and absolutely love it, and pick it up and hate it. It has happened both ways with other types of stories, so I don't know yet. He expected nothing, but they gave him everything. Linus Baker leads a quiet life. At 40, he has a tiny house with a devious cat and his beloved records for company. At the department in charge of magical youth, he spent many dull years monitoring their orphanages. Then one day, Linus is summoned by extremely upper management and given a highly classified assignment. He must travel to an orphanage where 6 dangerous children reside, including the Antichrist. There, Linus must somehow determine if they could bring on the end of days. But their guardian, charming and enigmatic Arthur Parnassus, will do anything to protect his wards. As Arthur and Linus grow ever closer, Linus must choose between duty and his dream. And now something interesting is happening, because I'm remembering the things that were written in it, and it is also just funny. It makes fun of itself a little, and it's clever. And I got kind of intrigued while reading it. I should pick this up. I should pick this up again. I'm Song of Achilles is the first book that I read by Madeline Miller, and that made me fall in love with her, and also made me fall in love with the concept of yearning. I'm kidding, but this book, if I could describe it in one word, it would be yearning. I feel like it's so well written. I recommended it to friends. I'd gifted it to friends. I once recommended it to a guy I was seeing, and he loved it. So, slay. Greece in the Age of Heroes. Awkward young prince Patroclus. Is that how I'm gonna pronounce it today? Awkward young prince Patroclus has been exiled to the court of King Peleus. Despite their differences, Peleus' golden boy Achilles befriends the shamed prince. As they grow into young men, their bond blossoms into something deeper, despite the displeasure of Achilles' mother, the sea goddess Thetis. Anyway, but when word comes that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped, Achilles must go to war in distant Troy and fulfill his destiny. Torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus goes with him. Reading the back brings back the memories of reading the book. If you've never read this book before, I highly recommend giving it a chance. It's gay, it's sexy, it's romantic, it's yearning, it's almost poetic in how it's written. Yeah, I don't know, a lot of people, I read the Goodreads reviews a long time ago, but a lot of people were like, Patroclus, he's like only waiting for Achilles and blah blah blah, and not very independent, this, that, whatever. Just whatever, just enjoy the story, okay? I feel like it is, that there's a lot of power in the story because of Patroclus' yearning, but their bond is, the blossoming of their bond is really beautiful to read, and I highly recommend this. I love having it on my shelf and just seeing it from time to time. This was really one of the first books that made me sob and reminded me of how much power there is in stories and storytelling. And the fact that this came from someone's brain is just, it's a work of art, so highly recommend. And then we have Circe, which is this beautiful orange gold cover. The international #1 bestseller, and for good fucking reason. I love this book so much. I think I've read it 3 times by now. I'll read the back. In the house of Helios, god of the sun and the mightiest of titans, a daughter is born. Circe is strange, not powerful and terrible like her father, not gorgeous and mercenary like her mother, but she has a dark power of her own, witchcraft. When Circe's gift threatens the gods, she is banished to the island of Aiaia, where she hones her occult craft, casting spells, gathering strange herbs, and taming wild beasts. Yet a woman who stands alone cannot live in peace for long, and among her island's guests is an unexpected visitor, the mortal Odysseus, for whom Circe will risk everything. Circe's tale is a vivid epic of family rivalry, love, and loss. The inextinguishable song of a woman burning hot and bright in the darkness of a man's world. This book was just right up my alley. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a very personal opinion. I love a feminist story. I love a strong female protagonist. I love all the whimsy, witchcraft, So I did actually also get it on my Kindle because I went on vacation, like I said, and I could not bring this in my bag. That just felt so excessive. So I downloaded it on my Kindle and read it there, which is why my bookmark is still in here. This follows Addie Larue, who was born in Vion-sur-Sarthe, and in 1714 she prays to the gods for a change of her life, but she prays to the wrong gods, so she gets cursed, and trades her soul for freedom. She gets to live eternally, but pays the price of never being known. So people forget about her the second she walks out of a room. So over the course of 300 years, she obviously experiences a lot, like watching cities be built and burnt down, experiences wars. I don't know, the fact that women started wearing trousers, things like that. And then at some point, someone remembers her, and that's just all I want to say about it, because I think the more empty you go into the book, the more you'll love it and the more you'll be captivated by it. I gave this 5 stars. I loved it so much. The only feedback, or the only thing that I wish was different about this book, is that there was more insight into how this curse worked exactly. There are a couple of what seems to be plot holes for me in just kind of like the nitty-gritty details of the curse. My light went out. So yeah, it's just, I give it 5 stars. I wanted more. I really, really loved the way that it was written. I was also in France when I was reading this, which was kind of nice because a lot of it takes place in Paris, and I was in Paris. I actually read it with this view. Which is, I'm definitely showing this to brag. That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So yeah, that made the experience so much more full. Yeah, I don't know, it just was really cool to be in Paris and while she was describing Paris and her life there, and yeah, I really think that this is a wonderful, wonderful story. If you are ever intimidated by it being a bit of a bigger book, I genuinely think this is one of the few books where I'm like, I wish it was longer. You can make this a 3-part series. Yeah, I adored this story so much. Highly, highly recommend. Also, this book was gifted to me by Anne, who is a friend of mine, and she said, lieve Fleur, ik hoop dat je ervan geniet, ondanks dat er geen sexy cowboys in zitten. Dikke kus, Anne. Which translates to, dear Fleur, I hope that you'll enjoy it, despite there not being any sexy cowboys in it. So Anne, thank you. I did enjoy it. I didn't even think about the cowboys. And thank you for knowing me so well. So that was the bottom shelf of my bookshelf.